All right, y'all, welcome back to the Soda Citizen podcast where, we like to talk to people that are making things happen in Columbia, South Carolina. And today, before we get introducing our guest, this is my co-pilot, Mary Lane Sloan.
Hello.
I'm Brad Allen. And today we've got Matt Kendall, who is the founding president and the CEO of the Main Street District organization. I didn't know the organization part was on there. I would have lost a bet on that.
Yeah.
So Matt, we have you on here because people judge us by Main Streets. Like, you're in charge of our entire perception of Columbia. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you.
But yeah, so why don't you just help? We always like to have people tell their story, and it can get a little boring, but we want people
Not
to
your story,
yeah,
Matt.
we want people to learn about Columbia. So just how did you play into Columbia? Did you grow up here? How has it changed in your lifetime? Like, just however you want to take it. But I'd like people to know.
No, great question. And no, I'm not from here. I got here as fast as I could, as many people say. But always had an affinity for South Carolina. I'm actually a native of Virginia, from the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, and lived in Roanoke for about 10 years after I left Hampton, Virginia, and ran their downtown development program. But always loved South Carolina. I came here on vacation a lot, like a lot of other folks. And my wife actually went to Converse College. She knows South Carolina, and her sister, who's also a Converse grad, settled in Northeast Columbia many years ago. So we knew Columbia through her sister and through the Converse connection, I guess, if you would. So always was near and dear to my heart. And when we came to Columbia 25 years ago, you could see the potential, but it was kind of sad at that point, particularly Main Street, as a reflection of the community. It was, except for the Columbia Museum of Art that had just opened on Main Street, there wasn't a lot of good news.
Yes.
It was so slow. I like to say that WXRY radio literally would, just as kind of a joke, would set up a card table in the middle of the street and broadcast because nobody came down the street. It was
so about
slow.
the same time. I was in college and I lived at the Adams Mart, well, now the Marriott.
Yes, right.
And so
First place I stayed in Columbia.
Yeah, I'd have to walk to class a mile. But even the Chick-fil-A closed at like 3 o'clock.
Yes.
It was the damnedest thing. There was nothing on the street.
It was really slow. I mean, you came down when you had to go to City Hall or get a permit or to go to the bank. Go to a bank, fancy bank. They were fancier back then, too. Fancy bank, did all that kind of stuff. See your lawyer, maybe to close on a house or something. But that's other than that. You just didn't come downtown. And, there were people there, and I was attracted to the job.
Right.
Some of our founders were very passionate. Jim Levenis, who's no longer with us.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Prioresci, who died a couple years ago. We're so passionate. Martha Fowler, who's still with us. We're so passionate about downtown. You could kind of see the future. And folks like Jim and Tom and others really believed in Columbia and believed it could be a lot better than it was. And so we really focused on it. We really worked with the city and focused on, cleaning the place up first, making people, actually making it safer, but maybe more importantly, made them feel safe. Through lighting and through our ambassador program that we have. And, eventually we started attracting a business. We focused on residential, retail, and office, all at sort of different times over the last 25 years. And now we're trying to kind of meld all that together and connect with all the other core districts, which have really taken off in the last few years. So
we had the director for the Vista.
Vista Guild.
Vista Guild.
Yes, Abby.
Now, I didn't realize how big it is. So when we're talking about the Main Street District, are you talking about everything that just touches Main Street, or what's the where do y'all kind of operate?
Great question. Our district, as we define it, is between Assembly and Marion Street and between Gervais and Elmwood. That's really the Main Street District. In recent years, we've actually, through a grant from the city, we've expanded some of our services up as far as Cottontown to help tie in North Main to Main. And so that's something we hope to do, hope to connect other areas in the future. But that's really been the focus of our efforts. The Vista is much bigger than the Main Street District. The Main Street District has more vertical development and a higher density, but the Vista is much larger. I think it goes all the way down to Olympia, to the river, and much bigger area. So we both have our differences, but pull it all together, we've got a very strong city center.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And watching it change from being in college to now, it is a complete 180, in my opinion.
Very different.
So what's been some of the biggest I don't know, celebrate, like what do you celebrate the most about the Main Street district?
Well, there's been several things that I think were really sea changing. One of it, I mentioned Tom Prioresci earlier and his belief that people would want to live downtown. He came from Cleveland, Ohio, and from New Jersey and New York City area, and really saw that people would want to live in urban areas, and helped really get the apartment market going. He did several with his company, Capital Places. They did a number of apartment projects, and that really showed. And they all were very successful and really showed that could work and get people downtown. I think another major thing was the student housing.
Yeah.
The hub in Core Spaces, who now owns 4 or maybe 5 buildings in the downtown and the Vista area, it made a dramatic impact.
Right.
When SCANA left town and the corporate headquarters left, we all thought downtown was just going to roll up.
There it goes.
But in fact, it was really depressing. At the time, I still remember it was on a Thursday. I remember when they said they were leaving. But a couple years later, Core came in and thought student housing would work, and it's been enormously successful.
Absolutely.
And really created a new vibe for downtown. I brought young people to the area, which made it feel safer for other people to move to the area.
Yeah.
And then we've seen more student housing, but also a tremendous amount of multifamily housing in the area, which is and much more to come in the next couple of years. That made an impact. Mass General Store coming was actually our first. That was back in fact, they're celebrating their 15th anniversary this year, if you can believe that. That made a huge impact. I think it was a stake in the ground that showed that, hey, we can do retail. People will come to Columbia. I mean, that block was almost deserted before they located, and now it's arguably the hottest block on Main Street. And so that was a huge one. And, of course, the Soda City Market.
Yes. Yeah. That's had a huge impact.
That, from the branding perspective and from the perception of downtown, that's just been amazing. I mean, that, I can't imagine anybody not being impressed by that market. And, that helps attract downtown residents. It helps tourism quite a bit. We're hearing from the hotels that, people do stay over now deliberately on weekends Columbia is not just a business destination anymore. People do leisure travel here. And I think Soda City is a big part of that. So I think those, and then the physical improvements that have been made. Main Street, the city has invested millions of dollars in the street environment downtown with sidewalks and the road and so forth and the lighting. That's made a big difference also.
I love seeing the old photos of Main Street and how many iterations it's gone through.
Yes.
It's been quite
Did you
interesting.
ever see the stadium lights that used to be up there?
No.
There's photos from 35 or so years ago. It's my understanding that there was a lot of complaints about Main Street being dark, and the solution was to get, Williams-Brice Stadium. I think they actually bought them from the stadium.
The lights?
Yeah, they had these. I wish I had the photo to show you. At one point, we had huge, high, the sodium vapor lights. And it was lit up like you could do surgery on Main Street.
Oh my goodness!
And, we've tried about everything over the years.
Yeah. Well, what I know you can't pick a favorite, right? But what are some of the places that you like to visit on Main Street?
I like to visit, kind of the old and the new. I love Villa Tronco and what it stands for. This is their 86th year. 5th generation is now running that business. So, that building, I think, was built in 1858. So that history, really defines Columbia for a lot of reasons.
Right.
But also the new cool stuff, the cool wine bars, Lula Drake, which isn't that new anymore, but of course, James Beard Award winning place. That's one of my favorite places. And then I love old places like the Arcade Mall, which is, early 1900s, one of the first malls in the country, and, Swanson's, for sandwiches and get my hair cut in that building. So, there's just a lot of cool things. And, got cool boutiques. Mass General Store is just always fun to go in. Love to go see movies at the Nick. Saw Song Sung Blue, which is
I just saw that too. I bawled my eyes
incredible
out.
movie.
It's so good.
It was really good. So there's just a lot. I think you look at the old and the new, and then it's exciting to see what's around. I already mentioned the Vista, but then Bull Street's taking off, Cottontown and all that. It's now South Main. South of the Capitol, which I don't think we've named that anything yet.
Oh,
it's,
right.
I was wondering if you're going to end up taking that on as part
Well,
of the Main Street District.
I don't know. Take it on, but I love the idea of having, one Main Street connecting
Right.
the university to the downtown core, to the neighborhoods in Cottontown and beyond, North Main.
Sure.
It really is the spine of the city. I'm hopeful someday that people will look at it as being one Main Street
Right.
that they're all very proud of.
Sure.
Right. I guess we've got NOMA.
Yes.
Soma.
Oh, is that what you're going with?
Soma's a good. See, you just
Yeah.
named it.
I think there's like underwear.
There's a ladies' underwear and pajama store.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have a brand yet, but I
Yeah.
like that.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
to catch your eye.
Plus, most of South Main is, I feel like, owned by the university at this point. So it's probably not much to.
Yeah, there's still the university. Is understands. I think they're now really see themselves as an urban university, and they're I think you'll see more vertical development in that corridor, and the shops and restaurants will fill in around it.
Right.
So it may be owned or managed by the university, but I think it'll have a very urban feel.
Sure.
And I think they recognize that will help attract students, because
Yeah.
students now, being
They're
downtown
so
is
bougie.
yeah, that's
Yes,
right. I
they
was looking
want
for
all
a
the
word. They
things.
want all that.
They don't want a handicap room in the Adams
No,
Mark on
they
Main
do
Street.
not.
No.
They
We have
want
tons
all
of
the
space.
fancy things.
Oh gosh,
What's
that's
the new building? I should know this. The new building they just broke ground on, or they just unveiled it right there next to, right there off Main Street, right across from the hub.
the one that they're just building now. Well, it's called Olive, or like Olive. I guess it's. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Olive or Olive, but that's a really good example of bougie because. It's actually two towers, and there's an interesting story there. The one on Main Street, which is going to face the Marriott directly, is actually 27-story market rate housing rental. It's not student housing. And the one behind it, which will be directly across from the Standard, which is on Assembly Street, will be a 22-story student housing, but it's the same developer. And their concept is that students love being such bougie student housing that when they retire,
They just
when
move
they
across.
not retire,
They graduate.
Graduate.
I mean, some might
You can
retire.
you can tell my age.
Okay, yeah.
When they
They don't want to be a professional student.
they don't want to
anymore.
be a professional student. They want to live like they've lived as students.
Yeah, until
So-
they realize that mom and dad aren't paying for
So
it anymore.
they are actually building a tower to appeal to those
Okay.
people. So when they graduate, they'll find a place as fun to live in as what they lived in college.
How about
Just-
that?
I used to do a lot with the state on affordable housing as a commissioner, and so when we talk about market rate, it's usually more than affordable housing.
Yes.
But it's gonna be interesting because I bet market rate housing is gonna be less than the student
Than the
housing
student
cost
housing,
because they
yeah.
get so much per room.
It probably will be, yeah. And
Never
that's
thought about
and
that.
I've had you all are in real estate, obviously, but I had a lawyer recently tell me, well, that is the market rate because I mean, it's market rate housing is student housing.
Is what they'll pay.
What
Yes.
they'll pay.
We had an intern; she was paying $1,200 for her bedroom. I think at the Standard.
That sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard
Nuts.
to believe.
Yeah.
My daughter graduated from Clemson in 15, and her student housing apartment was like $400 a month, and I thought that was bad.
Yeah.
At that
Right.
point, and
Yeah.
now it's triple or that. Just a few.
God knows.
know.
That's why people. I mean, of course, we're selfish and we would say, yeah, buy houses for your kids. It's getting a little bit harder to do that for an affordable price, but yeah, for $1,250 a bedroom,
Yeah.
we can find you
We can
something
find you something.
for sure.
Build your own equity. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what you're allowed to say, but is there anything exciting coming to the Main Street District that you'd like everybody to know
I'm
about?
trying to think of what may have already been announced, but we're going to see more market rate housing. We're very excited about it. Cannot remember the name of it. It's something Bull Street, but it's actually a group called Astral Development, which is from they're actually New York City developers.
Okay.
And
New York City.
Yes, New York City. And one of the architect of that project is actually a Columbia native that is from here and is involved in the project. But it's a very, very high end 288. Sometimes I round up apartments that are going to be at the corner of Bull and Marion and Elmwood, and with 20,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor. So I mean, it's big enough. Not that it would be an urban Target, but it's big enough that you could put an urban Target or something
Well,
Yeah.
now you're
of
going to get
that
people
nature
excited.
on the
You're gonna
ground
get
on the,
people
on the-
all
on the ground
excited,
floor.
Yeah.
And it'll have parking built in and be a very upscale development. And we're excited about that because it's the first development that really is designed from the beginning to connect Bull Street and the Main Street District. They are literally, you leave the door one way, you're in Bull Street, the other way, you're in Main Street. They're working with us to try to make Calhoun Street a much better pedestrian corridor so it connects to Main. And so we're actually seeing people kind of think bigger now. So, we'll have that development, and that's going to break ground, I believe, later this year or early next year. So, and then take a couple of years to build. So that is coming. So between that and the two buildings we just talked about that Core Spaces is doing, of course, we're very excited about the Grand Bohemian Hotel, which has just been announced. The Kessler Collection, that will be a 4-star hotel with a rooftop. They are also very interested in getting involved in the community. Might be giving something away, but they're talking about doing a night market on Main Street, possibly on Washington Street, that may or may not be in with Soda City kind of market. But Washington Street, which is not a really busy street now, is likely to become one in a couple of years. So that's very exciting. Yeah. That's coming. They're great people, really understand downtown development and working with the community. So we're excited to have them come in.
For sure. Yeah, we don't have really any. Do we have any 4-star?
No,
hotels?
I don't think we do. Yeah. I think this will be the first 4-star. We've got some wonderful boutiques. Abby may have told you about the Lantern, which just opened in Vista, which is amazing.
Yeah, Hotel Trundle, which is
Hotel Trundle, which is great. And, of course, they're doing another hotel in the Vista. A lot of good things happening in the area.
Oh, for sure.
And, a lot of residential, but also leisure travel and hospitality.
So how do you, switching a little bit of gears, but with Finley Park getting a facelift, how do you feel like Main Street's going to, because it's kind of separated by the post office, it's not quite a corridor. Is there any plans for?
Yeah, there is. We are actually very focused on Finley Park and have been talking to the city about that and the Vista Guild because, it's been an enormous success.
It looks so good.
It is so well done.
And people are there.
People are there.
That's right. Every time I drive by, people are in it. It's so nice.
One day last week, the weather was horrible. The wind was blowing 30 miles an hour, and I drove by there, and it was packed.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of people in the park. So it's a great success. We already know it's having some impact on places like Mass General Store because parking is not great for Finley Park, although the city's working on that. The parking resources are mostly in the Main Street district, so smart folks will figure out they can park on Taylor Street. There are 2 garages there and a relatively short walk. You know, if we were in Atlanta or even Charlotte, you would think that's a short walk. In Columbia, people
I'll
circle the block a couple more times.
But that's also starting to have an impact already, and we're hoping that people will go to Finley with their kids and then they'll come back and get an ice cream, on Main Street, or they'll go in Mass Store, or they'll go to the Grand and have a hamburger. So we're, we see that coming, and we know it will be a draw for the downtown residents. I mean, it's whether you're buying a home or a condo or an apartment, that park is true. And just days ago, a couple of days ago, they announced there's a contract now on the old VA building.
I saw that.
And I just talked
possible rooftop
restaurant.
I feel like all these rooftop people don't realize how hot it is.
Yeah, well, they're figuring that out too. The Moxie, if
the
you
Moxie
there,
did it right.
See, they did it right, and Rick Patel learned because he did the Sheraton.
Yes.
I think he did the first rooftop.
Yes, he did. You need some inside space,
and he figured that out. He said, a lot of time it was too hot or too cold or too windy, and so the Moxie's rooftop is mostly indoors. And thinking some of the others will figure that out. So
that's funny. I did have a question. Let's talk about festivals a little bit. So y'all have some of the best festivals, I think, in town. So are there any new ones coming about? Or are we staying with the current ones that we have, like the Latin Festival? I think there's a jazz festival.
The Latin Festival, Jazz Festival, the Pride event is huge. Of course, the Greek Festival is always wonderful. There is a new festival, and it's interesting. It was born on Main Street, tried a couple of other locations, including over in the historic home district, but they're actually going to Finley. It's an Italian festival.
Oh, I did hear the Italian festival was going there.
Trip Roche, who's a dynamo 20-year-old guy. If you haven't met him yet, he's got incredible ideas. He's the next generation of Villa Tronco. Trip would be great on your podcast. He has got more ideas than anybody I think I've met in the last 10 years. But he is bringing back the Italian Festival, and it'll be this fall in Finley Park, and will be really exciting. A lot of food, entertainment. That was very popular back in the day, and that one's coming back around.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But yeah, I can't think of any other festivals in our district. But I think one area that's being used a lot more is Boyd Plaza. It's beautiful. The Art Museum just went through another renovation, another iteration. And I expect you'll see more activity there. In the last year, we've had coffee and jazz in the morning on Boyd Plaza, and activation is sort of the buzzword right now, where maybe you won't see any new large festivals, but I think you can see a lot more kind of pop-up kind of events and more entertainment more often in the downtown area. We're seeing some of that.
Yeah. What do you feel like's missing on Main Street? If you could wave a wand and be like, we need this.
We need this. Well, I think, and maybe it's more than one thing, but we would really like to see more. I call it shopping bag retail. We may have invented that word because we are really doing well from the restaurant and bar perspective. There are almost 60 restaurants and bars in the Main Street district now, and lots of variety and more to come. We have a new wine bar that just opened up on Sumter Street. Another new ice cream place is getting ready to open up near the State House. So there's lots. That's all good. But there's only about 17 places that you can go and buy something and take it with you in a bag. And I think as more people come downtown and retail around the country, actually, there's a trend actually to people just go back to stores.
Yeah.
Even some of the online stores are now coming out with bricks and mortar locations. So
that Pretty Woman moment.
Yes, we absolutely
You do.
we do.
I know,
we
it's a
do.
thing.
We do. So we're really hoping to do that, and you mentioned women and Pretty Women, that movie, but female shoppers have a huge influence on Main Street.
Yes, we do.
And they do. And student housing, this is a statistic, particularly the high-rise student housing, it's overwhelmingly female. I mean, like 80% or more female. And I think some of that is I don't know if it's the security or females just
That's what I'd guess.
Are they just like the more upscale places?
Probably both of those
all
things.
those things.
Yes.
But that's great for shopping. And there's certainly eating and drinking coffee and those kind of things on Main Street. But we're hoping and focused on that.
Yeah.
The Sylvan spot just became available. And what a great spot for a new cool retailer. And if it ends up being a bar or a restaurant, that's fine.
Okay too.
But we are talking and have had some conversations with the city about what can we do to do a little more, maybe to attract that. So I would like to see more places to actually shop on Main Street.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until you said it. And I would not have guessed 17. I'd have thought it was much less than 17, like actual bag shops.
Yeah, and there's just not a lot. I mean, there are some that are doing very well, but we just need more of them.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a critical mass where people think of shopping. It's like, let's go to Main Street.
Exactly.
Kind of like King Street in Charleston. Like, you're going to shop all the way down.
That's exactly right. So we are hoping, we're not just hoping, we're going to try to work on that. As I mentioned when I first started talking, over the years, we've sort of focused on different things. And we focused on office recruitment very heavily for a while. We focused on residential for a while. And then we focused on more events for a while. Now I think we're really focused on shopping bag retail and activations, things that just make it interesting and fun to come downtown.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you're seeing that some other cities comparable to our size have been doing lately that you would hope we could manifest here in Columbia?
Yeah, I think so. I think we need more public space. I think more better walkability, particularly for I'm getting so old. I'm saying those young people.
Whippersnappers.
But we need places. I know they want outdoor recreation. They want to be able to bicycle and to walk and things. And I think we've made some inroads on that. We talked about, would you name it, South Somo?
Somo.
And that actually just won a national award for being one of the most bicycle friendly areas. And we need more of that. And I'm hopeful that if we focus on that will make it a lot easier to get around and connect to Finley Park and connect to the Vista and connect to Bull Street. and and I think other cities have been maybe more focused on that. Some other cities, I think they focus on that first and then use it as a business development strategy. We've sort of got the buildings, but we don't have that infrastructure in place. And,
Gotcha.
and I'd like to see a little more focus on that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about living here, because part of our goal is to help people, just enlighten them. So if you had to describe living in the Main Street District, who do you think that would be ripe for? Because there's only so much. We talked about it a little bit before we got on the podcast. There's not a whole lot of apartments and condos. Definitely not condos. But somebody's looking for the Main Street life.
Yeah, I think it's sort of two markets. It is a wonderful place for young people just starting out. I mean, it's a great place to meet and greet. And not on Main Street, but my daughter actually, she works at Nephron, but my other daughter, but she moved over there just across the Gervais Street Bridge to the Brooklyn Project, and quickly met her next door neighbor, who she ended up marrying, and their next door neighbor apartment. So, there's a lot of reasons why people, the social aspects of living downtown are really great for young people and everybody, but also for older people. There's a lot of very happy people that live in the apartments downtown, empty nesters, a number, and there's a sort of a third group of people that have urban second homes. They may live at Lake Murray, or they may even live in Charlotte or some other bigger city, but they want a Columbia residence, and it's very appealing. We hear about people, either business people that have business in Columbia that want an apartment in Columbia or a condo, but a fair amount of people that do it as sort of a downtown second home.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a market. And for seniors, downtown is actually quite good because of the post office, the hospital, the number of doctors' offices. They walk to restaurants. Some of the older folks, I know a woman that lives above Mass General Store that has some physical handicaps that can't drive, and she lives there because it's so convenient. She can shop and eat and get everything she needs within a couple of blocks.
Right.
So it appeals to those folks too.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Off of Main Street, to piggyback on what Brad asked, if you could bring anything to just Columbia in general, not just the Main Street District, but anything to Columbia, you can be as creative as you want. What would you bring?
Anything
you want.
Anything to Columbia in general.
I mean, preferably the downtown area.
Yeah, preferably the downtown area. I think there's some things out there that we don't have in this area, yet, that maybe we have a possibility in the future. It seems like most of the other exciting downtowns now, if you look at Charlotte or Richmond or others, professional soccer is a big thing.
Yeah, that has come up on this podcast
and
before.
I am not a soccer guy. In fact, I'm so old. In high school, we didn't even have a soccer team.
Okay.
I guess it had been invented, but that was about it.
Yeah.
But that is one that you're seeing, and I think that is wildly popular, particularly among the younger folks, millennial folks. So that would be very good. I think again, more public spaces, more Finley Park. I'm very excited about the riverfront development, which is fledgling right now, but they have just hired a designer. I think it's the same one that did the High Line in New York City. I mean, really good designer, teamed up with a local Boudreaux group, which is a Main Street business. So we're very excited about that and what that might mean, and just the scale of it. That area is, I think Finley Park is 17 or 18 acres, and I think that's 40 acres. So it's more than double the size of Finley Park. I don't think people think about the size of park that you could create along the riverfront.
Right.
So that's pretty exciting. I think if we had a really dramatic, great riverfront, I was in Memphis recently. They just not that big a fan of Memphis, but
people that are.
but they have a wonderful new riverfront park that is just transformational.
There they go. They got to start somewhere.
And and I think if we could do a park at that level and that well, I mean it's at a Finley Park level, but it's on the river, and then that could be transformative.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like you're the person to ask, and it's definitely a rumor, but. You ready for it? No. But I have heard that like Columbia's with its the number of residents here and how close it is to everything, that like we're kind of ripe for like an NFL style team. I've heard. I know the Panthers are only an hour
He's
up the
not
road.
answering that question.
Yeah, but I've heard like if for next franchise, like it's close. What we're so close to that I don't think people from Augusta or Charleston are making the trip to Charlotte. But we like football.
Whether you're good or not.
No, that is a question I did not anticipate. But no, I don't know anything about that. But I do agree with you. I mean, you know, you might remember when the Charlotte Panthers were established. I think weren't they originally the Carolina. I guess they still the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
But I think they originally the concept was it was going to be North and South Carolina's team.
Yeah.
But I don't really know anybody that's really hardcore Panthers fan here. It's not really. I'm from Virginia, and even though I was from Tidewater, Virginia, the Redskins were our team. Which now they're not the Redskins anymore; they're the Commanders. But I don't see that here. So I think you might be right. I think maybe people could identify very strongly with an NFL franchise in the area. I know people love football here, and that could actually be an impediment because we're such a great SEC.
Right.
Well, most years we're
Still fans.
Yes.
Still fans, absolutely, always.
Best fan. Yeah.
But that's a great one. I'd love to see that. I have not heard. I have heard the soccer idea being floated around, but I have not heard
I've heard that too. We're working on
the
something.
NFL deal.
I got yelled at when I said it the other day. He's like, "Don't tell anybody."
No, I don't know. I don't have any inside information. It's
What did
just
you think he was going to ask?
I don't know. Never knew what was going to come out.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Well, I'm just curious, are there any more plans for like vertical development? Because the old saying is like the more cranes you see, the more, that means that's the indicator of a healthy, growth in the city. And right now we have like 2.
Yeah, there aren't any announcements, but there are some really great opportunities. Many people, in fact, I think it was just this morning, I had a text about it, there are 2 wonderful lots on the corner of Gervais and Assembly Street, which, have been used as parking lots for many years. And you look at those sites and you think about, right across from the State House, walking distance, right at the nut between the Vista and Main Street, tremendous views of the State House.
And that's kind of one of the first things you see
It's
when
the
you
first
come
thing
in.
you see coming into Columbia, and that to me is just an opportunity. I was not involved in it, but I was really, really sad when I heard that Scout Motors corporate headquarters was moving to Charlotte. Because think about a Scout Motors headquarters on one of those corners, it would just change the whole dynamic of the city. And so I think that opportunity will come at some point.
Maybe that's where the soccer could go.
It may be. There were some people that thought we should have the baseball stadium in Finley Park. I don't know if you remember that controversy, but that was, which has been great in Bull Street. I'm not critical, but I remember when they announced it in Bull Street, people said, "Oh, I ought to put that in Finley Park." So, maybe so. I don't know, but those sites are really great for that. The city also has, I think, some ideas. They own a lot of property on the 1700 block of Main Street where the old United Way building was and the water plant and those kind of buildings. They basically own a whole block there and then there's the Richland County Courthouse, which I don't think Richland County really wants that to be a courthouse and they are in that location for the long term. So, there are 2 really good sites there that would lend themselves to large-scale development. And so, those are, they may be 10 years down the road, but hoping the one at Gervais and Assembly is sooner than that. But those other sites are all available, and I think could be, the site that we're at Core Spaces is building 2 towers now had been a parking lot for 30 years.
Sure.
So there's hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So if you had people come into town and you had to just have a good day, and you were going to do it on Main Street, how would your day look? Where would you start for coffee? And maybe it makes you pick favorites, but we want people to know, if they watch this podcast and we have this clip out, oh yeah, I need to go try this place and this place and that place. So that kind of concept.
Well, particularly if it was on a Saturday.
Yeah, just go Saturday.
Soda City.
Soda City, yeah. It makes such a huge impression on our city. Just recently, I don't think I'm spreading any news here. I shouldn't, but the folks that were doing the Grand Bohemian, it's my understanding they were looking at other sites around Columbia, not just that one.
Sure.
And they stayed on Main Street and walked out on a Saturday morning and saw Soda City, and they're like, "My gosh, this is where we want
Right.
Right.
I mean, it makes that much of an impression, and I suspect a number of these other developers or people have said the same thing. But no, I think a great day in Columbia would be to come down and come have coffee at one of the great shops downtown. I love Oliver Gospel Mission Roastery. I
Yeah.
think it's a really good coffee shop,
Yeah.
and it's also for a great cause.
Sure.
So I love that. I would go to the market. I would go to Mass General Store. Wonderful store. I'd depending on what time of the day, we have great happy hours, great bars. I mean, the bourbon is fantastic. They have one of the best bartenders around. And the halls too. Is just a gift to the community.
Right.
It's a wonderful place. Can't go wrong there. Great ice cream shop. Sweet cream.
Like you're not picking anything. You're
No.
just generalizations. I'm
So
just kidding.
many.
That's
and,
what we want. Go down one side and come up the
then if I
other.
really wanted the Columbia experience, I might end up at Villa Tronco because
Okay,
it's just. And again, I hope I'm not picking one over the other, but it's just the family atmosphere there, and that's there. And
I think they've earned the right to
Yeah.
get a
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out.
And you're not just having great Italian food. You're it's like being with family.
Yeah.
And you really feel that when you're
Right.
there. So you get that kind of Columbia experience. So you could have a great day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a great day on Main Street. And if you I don't want to forget Lula Drake either.
No,
It's-
right, yeah.
There's nowhere else like that.
No.
You think you're in New York City or
Yep.
somewhere. It's
All right, let's see if I can nail you down on this one. If you go to Soda City Market, what do you look forward to? Like, where's your go-to spots? I got to go to Mary's Arepas.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
gotta go there.
that was going to be one of them.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. So
I
you
would
can
go
go
to Mary's Arepas. I would buy flowers. There are a
Oh, yeah,
couple
they're
of very
really
good
good.
flower vendors. My wife, I'd get them for my wife, or she
Good
would
for
buy them.
you.
We would buy bread. I think there's a couple of bread. I can't remember the name of the vendors.
Sure.
But wonderful sourdough and bread, and maybe buy some fresh produce depending on the time of the year. That's my go-to. And what happened to the boiled peanut guy? There used to be a great boiled peanut trailer that I'm not sure.
Now
is-
there's some ladies that have a trailer down at the end, and they've got
Okay.
all the different flavors.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
maybe they
need
take
to
a
visit
spot.
them, so I
Yeah.
probably would get some boiled peanuts. But just love the Soda City
Yeah,
market. And
absolutely.
everything about it.
That's funny.
I love the international flair.
Oh,
of it, too.
absolutely.
Me too.
What is yours? What is your go-to? Yeah, what is yours?
Judgment
It's very
eyes,
judgy.
right?
Very judgy.
I like the arepas too.
Yeah,
all
the
right?
Rapas would be. I don't think I ever go and don't get those.
I love the street Thai food that they have right there, and then I like to take some paella home.
Mm.
I also like the boiled peanuts,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm kind of down. Don't tempt me with a good time. I love international food. Let's go.
I like how they have. I'm gonna call them street performers, but like Voodoo
Oh, it's
Child's out there.
incredible.
Yeah,
I didn't know where you're going. Keep going. You're doing good.
violinists are out there, stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
it's not curated, but yet they're allowing. So it's not like just pop up like in the New York City kind of area, but
Exactly.
they're spaced out.
Yeah,
It's
they,
not a-
they run that market. I mean, it's not run by accident. They're
Right.
very Emil and Aaron
Oh.
really know what they're doing. They pick good vendors that that will stay there and come week after week.
Rain and shine,
Oh, yeah.
cold and hot, they are there.
I just spoke to Erin about it, who's running the market now, and she told me that the only time they've ever closed is during COVID.
Yeah.
They were forced to close
Right.
Yeah.
during COVID, and I think there was one hurricane where they
Yeah, I remember
they,
that.
they determined that it was for public safety, and they didn't want to shut down, but city made them shut down. They just keep going.
Sure. I like how for the shout out to the city about safety. Like there's usually salt trucks out there, or they have barriers up now, so people feel a little more safe if there's some crazy in a car trying to do something.
They
weird.
really do a great
Yeah.
job, and you can't beat the way. I don't know if you probably don't get the memos that I get every week.
I
You get
do
a little
not.
memo every week explaining what's going to happen at the market and who's going to be down there doing security and fire. And they call the police and fire guns and hoses.
Guns and hoses. I love that.
I love that. I always say guns and hoses are going to be, and then they name who they are.
That's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, Matt, we appreciate you taking the time. We know
Yeah.
you're super busy, and you are overseeing a vital part of our community. And I know being in real estate 20 years now, like I can see how things have changed since Main Street and where people start looking differently at housing since Main Street's kind of come back around. So the work is really important. So I appreciate you doing that and appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate you saying that because we like to think that we have a better impact than just on Main Street. And that's kind of what we focus on, really.
Yeah.
And so that's good to hear.
Well,
Yeah.
Main Street is kind of the welcome mat into our city, you know, and so when people feel welcome, they want to stay and they want to come back.
It is. Mayor Benjamin, you probably may have heard him say that. He says you can't. Most people can't pronounce Hugie or Gervais Street, but everybody can pronounce Main Street.
Main Street, that's right. That's right. Come on
awesome.
in. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.